I think most business owners like me chase freedom, chase passion. They want to go and make a difference, and they get to make money in the process. But the thing is, when you get into business, all of a sudden you get like in the weeds of things that just sort of slow you down, and you don't have time, and you can't chase freedom, and you're not feeling very passionate. And so I help them rekindle that a little bit.
Welcome to the Kind Boss podcast, brought to you by Outsourcing Angel, an Australian-based social enterprise that specializes in helping business owners free up their time and reduce staffing costs, while helping to create employment opportunities for people in developing countries. Visit outsourcingangel.com today. Now, let me welcome your host, Linh Podetti.
Kind listeners, I'm your host, Linh Podetti. Today we'll be speaking to Rhys Parry Badkin, aka the Chief Enthusiast. As a peak performance coach, he helps entrepreneurs bulletproof their business and profit through crisis. After 15 years experience working across 5 separate industries, he is fueled by a mission to unleash entrepreneurial potential fast. Listen on as he shares tips on how you can safeguard your time, money, and motivation. Hi everybody, and welcome to the Kind Boss podcast. And today I have the beautiful Rhys from, is it Rhys or Rhys? Rhys. I have a Bobby accent. All the way from Bronte, not too far from me actually, from Sydney. And I met Rhys at Hillsong Business Connect group actually. And so I already knew that he was going to be kind, because anyone who believes in God and follow God is usually kind. And I really felt that you're suitable for this podcast, and I really wanted to get to know you more and learn more about the work that you do. So welcome, and tell us more about yourself.
Thank you so much. What a lovely introduction. So my name is, look, you can call me a lot of different things. My name is Rhys to most English-speaking people, but to Welsh people where I'm from, it's Rhys, but you can't say that without covering someone with a thin layer of spit. So look, whatever you want to call me is cool. I also call myself a chief enthusiast because Rhys, the name originally means enthusiasm. Like that's what it means. And so when I realized that, I was actually at a Sunday school meeting, and the little kids were like, we've done some research on you. I was like, that's cool. They're like, yeah, your name means enthusiasm. I was like, well, that fits because it is who I am. It is what I do. I am a business coach for purpose-led entrepreneurs. And I'm really, really passionate about unleashing entrepreneurial potential, because I believe that business owners are the everyday heroes that can really change the world. They can serve beyond belief. And those are the people that really, they get to be nimble, they get to agile, and they put so much on the line in order to make a difference. And so I'm passionate about them. So that's what I spend my all day, every day doing. My mum and dad were both business owners. So I kind of grew up in that environment. I never really thought I was a businessy person. It was just, I loved hard work, and I loved like projects, and I loved doing really cool creative things. So it took me going through being a teacher and training teachers and running a not-for-profit and ending up in sales and then recruitment and then training to be a Christian minister for a couple of years. And I was like, oh, I really want to help people, but actually I quite enjoy making money as well. So I'm just going to put that to one side. And that whole smorgasbord of experiences brought me to the point where I thought I really want to get in front of business owners and help them understand that they are their primary asset. Because if you can develop the individual, you will develop the business, because businesses rise and fall on the psychology of the leader. So it's not just about like, let's meditate every now and then. It's how do we ensure that your mental resources are being aligned towards the best outcome. So that's what I do.
Very impressive. And I saw that your background, you've worked for companies like Groupon and Salesforce. And was there any driving factor to the experience that you were working in corporate or in jobs that made you decide to get into your own business and be your own boss?
Honestly, I don't really like being told what to do, so that's definitely had something to do with it. That's always been the case. I've tried to get more humble as I've got older. Thank you, Jesus, but I'm not sure that I'm quite there. I think really what it was I love to move forward. I'm addicted to progress. So normally, if I'm on a conference call, not this one, and not one with my clients, I'll have to be doing something else at the same time. So I have to be like making some investments on my phone or like tidying, and I love the idea of international travel because you're going somewhere and I can be working at the same time. So in a corporate environment, sometimes you hit a level and you're like, okay, what's next? And we're like, well, that's it now. I'm like, okay, how do I earn more money? No, we can't. Okay, so how do we? No. And I thought, no, this is not going to work for me. So I had to take a step out And I love the fact that in order for me to be successful, I just need to make everybody else successful. So I spend all day, every day, getting in front of people and helping them. I really thrive getting order out of chaos. That's ever since being little and growing up in a very effervescent family, and then even teaching, that's what you do. So now, like, I get to come out and get into people's businesses and help them build sort of structure to be able to move forward. Because I think most business owners like me chase freedom, chase passion. They want to go and make a difference, and they get to make money in the process. But the thing is, when you get into business, all of a sudden you get like in the weeds of things that just sort of slow you down, and you don't have time, and you can't chase freedom, and you're not feeling very passionate. And so I help them rekindle that a little bit.
Love that. So how long have you been doing this now?
So I've been in business development for about 15 years. This particular business has been running for 3 years. It started off as a side hustle when I was working for Salesforce, and then launched into it full time. And it's sort of, I think as it does with any business, you go through a few evolutions, and then you get really clear as to who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. And you hire some clients, you fire some clients, and you sort of, you find your way there. And yeah, it's been beautiful. The good thing about business is I feel like you just can never stop learning. And so this weekend, I've listened to about 3 or 4 different business books and a few podcasts, and you come away super excited and stimulated about the next thing you can do, and then find a way to apply that either to my work or the work that I do with clients. So it's cool with the work that I do with clients, because whatever I'm doing, I get to share with them, and vice versa. You just learn so much as a community,
Yeah, I really feel, it's amazing, because you pretty much just outgrew your companies that you were working for. They were just not moving fast enough. And then now, because you love learning, everything that you learn, you're actually passing on to your clients. So the clients kind of don't have to sit there reading books all the time. They're just getting the best juice from you, right? And then you help them grow. So tell me more about, what does it mean to be a purpose-driven business that you work for?
So where I'm coming from with that is, I believe that there are people who have dreams as to what they want to do in terms of leaving a mark on the world, having a legacy, creating a product that's going to make a difference to people's lives. It's only through, I think, people actually shifting their perspective and giving themselves permission to do that the world is really going to change. Right? If everybody's doing what everybody else is doing and just assuming this is the only way to go about things, there will be no change. So there is a huge, without wanting to get too grandiose, spiritual element to business. It is not just the difference between a purpose-led entrepreneur and a standard entrepreneur. And I mean this with no judgment, like, please don't, take it that way. I don't want it to be heard that way. A standard entrepreneur might be like, cool, I've got a business, like I've got a product, see if I can make some money, let's have a go. Whereas a purpose-led entrepreneur this is beyond me. This is not just a shop. This is something beyond me. I want to build enough money to be able to support my children. I want to make a difference to the community. I want to find a way to better serve. I want to create a really cool widget that people are going to froth over. Like, look at Bill Gates, for example. Like, he goes into like Microsoft. He builds Microsoft. He geeks out about everything technological, but then it's always about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And now he's almost seen as one of the foremost epidemiologists, because he's talking to us about disease across the world, because it's always been about the bigger picture and where we go from here. And so I love to get in front of the visionary entrepreneurs who have a vision, and they've kind of come unstuck a little bit to say, hey, your vision still means a lot. Yes, we're going to be able to help those people that you need to help. But in order to do that, you've got to be a different person. You've got to operate in a different way.
Yeah. I totally relate to what you're saying, because when I first started in business, I started because I wanted to free myself up from a corporate job. And I just started whatever business that was there at the time, nail polish, which I had no passion for. And I hated waking up to it. And then I was just chasing the money. I was just going, I hope that, 1% of the world population buys my nail polish, I'm going to be rich. And it wasn't until I just keep pushing through my business did I realize that it's more than that, there's more to it than money. Because even when you start making money, if you don't have a purpose-driven business, I do feel like you just feel empty somewhere. Right. And so now my business, I can see the relationship between like recruitment for developing, creating jobs, and what it does. Even at first when I was doing outsourcing, I kind of didn't see the connection yet. It was still kind of like, oh yeah, I'm solving problems for the business, the owners, to get things done, and it's making me money. But it was only, so do you believe that it's something sometimes you developed? It's not like you wake up one day and go, I have a purpose. It's sometimes kind of developed.
Totally. I think, and this is like in the personal development space, which is, you know, a space that I'm passionate about, it can be very woolly. It can be like Morgan Freeman appeared from the sky and said, this is your purpose. Or, oh, I just want to get in touch with myself. I'm like, yep, that's cool. But actually what happens is clarity comes on the journey. A good coach of mine once said. And I think people launch in and they're like, I've got a business. I don't want Bob or Bill to be my boss anymore, or Betty. I'm going to go and launch into this. And then over the course of time, running a business is the best form of personal development you'll ever have, because everything's on the line. You're like, okay, cool. That's not working. You pivot. And then you come to a point where you're like, no, this is the perfect alignment of that which I bring, my gifts, skills, abilities, and what the market needs, because otherwise this is just a hobby. And then from there you go, wow, there's a greater purpose to this. So I think not everybody needs to have a grandiose purpose before they launch out. You know, someone might say, plumbing is a really good, people are always going to need a plumber, so I'll be a plumber. Sounds pretty cool. My dad worked on the tools. That's going to be amazing. But then as they start to do it, they realize as they work with certain people in certain environments, there's something about the way they get to create a beautiful space for people that they love. And all of a sudden it becomes about creating a beautiful space. But the interesting thing is that profits tend to follow from a greater sense of purpose, which is why big companies, big corporates who may not be purpose driven, you pay a shed load of money to get people in and be like, what's our vision? What's our values? And people don't really subscribe to it because it's not real. But when you meet a business owner who is just sold out to what they do and they really believe in it and they think it's incredible, you want to buy from them, because that's what persuasion is, right? So someone says, this is amazing, it's great, I love it, this is what we're doing. You think, like Apple talks about, you know, thinking creatively, thinking differently. It's not like, buy our computer. You're like, no, but I want your computer now because you've cast this vision. So I think it's something that you can pick up over the course of time. Don't get me wrong. Like, you can't run a business like it's like some form of a ministry or a project. You've got to make money. Like, profit has to come first. Like, let's not pretend that profit doesn't come first, because there's no profit, there's no people to be helped, there's no purpose to be had. Like, it's not a business. So profit first, I genuinely believe in that. But if you're subscribing to a higher purpose, it lifts everybody. It lifts your mood, it lifts your team, it lifts your customers, it lifts the whole thing. And from there, you attract people in.
Yeah, love it. So tell me more about the chaos that you usually witness from people that are coming to you for help, and the common chaos that you see in business owners.
I would say, so it's time. Like, time is the thing that people say I don't have enough of. Well, here's the spoiler, right? We all have the same 167 hours a week. Richard Branson, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs when he was around, Oprah Winfrey, they all have the same, but they manage it in a different way. And people come along and they say, I don't have enough time. And it's not generally that they don't have enough time, it's they're trying to do everything themselves because they're a perfectionist, or they qualified on the tools, so they know how it should be done, and so they're just in the detail. So they're working in the business as opposed to working on the business, and it helps and it stagnates business growth. And the next thing after time is their own headspace, because they are working so hard in what they're doing, and they're maybe working really long hours, and they're trying to grow at the same time, that they're not able to show up in the way they need to. So if they've got a team, they're not able to lead them very well because they're constantly thinking about work and they're being really pressured, or maybe it affects their personal relationships, or maybe it just affects their bottom line. Because if you are the number one person who is responsible for business development within your business, and you've got a stinking headspace because you're stressed out the whole time, try and sell someone your services when you're stressed out of your mind. They're not going to want any of it. They'll be like, dude, if you can't even manage your own household, I'm not like you. So it starts with time. Actually, it starts with identity. It starts with, who are you? Who do you need to show up as your business as? What's your vision? What's your values? Then we go on to time. Then we look at your relationships, how you're leveraging them, and then so on and so forth from there. So more often than what, the number one thing is time. You start talking to them about the time. And as you scratch the surface, you realize there's something a little bit more significant that sits underneath that.
Yeah, I agree. So you have to really unblock their mindset first, so that then they can take the right actions. Because right now how would you, so sometimes people feel like it's faster if they do it, or I can save money if I do it. So how do you actually kind of quickly get them to go, hang on, it's not worth it. Yeah, or you're not going to grow.
I suppose what I would say to them is, like, I would ask them, how much is your time worth? Like, talk to me about how much your time worth is time is worth to you. And they'll say, well, you know, like maybe I would bill my time out at like $300 an hour. I'm like, cool. So you know that admin thing that you did the other day where you were building that process? How long did it take you? Oh mate, it took me like half a day. Okay, cool. So what, like 3 hours? And they're like, yeah, I mean minimum. I'm like, so that's worth $900 to you. Oh, right. I'm like, because that's what you're doing. And time is a resource that you never get back. So let's not pretend that it's not a big deal. It depends on where you're at in the business. Some people have more time than they have money, and so they have to invest the time. But if you're starting to get a bit more money, then you need to start using that to create time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you've got to, like the business owners who are able to scale and scale well, ask themselves the question, what is the number one priority? They wake up every single day and think, what is the one thing I need to do to move the business forward? And they focus on that. And Motorbike Mike calls it the queen bee theory, or the queen bee focus. You like the purpose of the queen bee is the purpose of the queen bee. She doesn't busy herself with like tidying up over here and writing this document over there. She just does what she's supposed to be doing and empowers other people to do that. So come back to your number one priority and focus on that, and then empower others to do what they need to do, because otherwise you end up spinning your wheels.
Yeah. And I mean, you go out to get a business because you want freedom, but you are yourself. You just got yourself a job in that sense. And then I think the worst case is that if you got hit by a bus tomorrow, like we just don't know, right? That's it. You know, there is no backup plan at all. Yeah.
That's what Robert Kiyosaki says, right? If you like, the question is as to whether or not it's a business or a job, is if you were to walk away from your business for 2 months and you were to come back, would there be anything left? Most business owners, they were like, nope, no recurring revenue. Nobody would know what to do. Like, I am the bottleneck for every single decision. And this is not a place of judgment, right? This is what they call the E-myth, the entrepreneurial myth. Like, you come into your business and you're like, yes, I want to bake cakes. And so you come in and you build a bakery, and then you find that you're not actually baking cakes, you're doing all this other stuff, and you're trying to do everything at the same time. And the number one reason that small businesses fail is lack of cash flow. And that's not because there aren't customers who want to give you the money. It's because you're not actually manning the resources in the way that you need to in order for that business to keep on firing. Business is not complex. It does not be complex, but we make it complex.
Yeah. And what's your thoughts around like happiness? I mean, like, sure, we come out, we wanted to be a business owner and we're like hustling away. We wanted to be rich and have money because we want to be happy, but then along the way we forget to be happy. So what suggestions do you have for people staying happy and I guess feel content along the way, even though business is hard?
So first thing I would say is that happiness is not an Excel formula. So it's not if this happens then, like if I get more money, then I'll be happy. If I get another team member, I'll be happy. If I can open up another location, I'll be happy. I was actually just on an interview earlier where I was speaking to someone and she was saying the research has proven that happiness precedes peak performance. So it's effectively you being in the right mindset. And let me just break that down for you. People say, mindset. It's a bit buzzwordy. Let me explain what that means. If you can put yourself into a positive headspace, if you can clear your head from the things that actually don't matter, if you can reduce your stress and increase your focus, if you can allow yourself to feel more positive because you spend time with people who lift you up, you're listening to good music, you're eating good food, you're exercising on a regular basis, you will make yourself into a good state. And when you're in a good state, you deliver better because you attract the opportunities in, you're able to deal with people's objections in the right way, you can deal with challenging situations. So you effectively need to find fulfillment in order to be successful. And sometimes we have one or the other. It's like, I just want to be happy. So that's it. No business. I'm going to go and live on a kibbutz, or I'm moving to Byron. And I'm like, that's it. I'm done. And that's cool. Like, totally respect that. And then you've got the flip and people saying, I want to be successful. And they work 80 hours in a 40-hour week. And like they push and burn themselves. And then like they're done before they even get to retirement. And so you've got to find a way to be able to marry success and fulfillment. And that really comes from simplifying the heck down, really, really simple, thinking about what's the vision that I want to achieve, like for my business and for my life, break it down into a 90-day window, a week, and then a day, and just focus on that. Get rid of the shiny objects, get rid of all the things that are in your way, because that's what entrepreneurs often feel is overwhelmed, because there's just so many messages coming at you and you're trying to build the plane as you're flying it. So let's just simplify it right down. Let's think about where you want to go, think about the best way for you to get there, and keep moving forward, because simplicity scales. simplicity in your life will scale, complexity will kill it, and you'll feel a lot happier when things are simple.
Love it. Love it. Wow. Before we go into the next section, I actually want to break it up with called the high five. So this is where I'm going to ask you a this or that question just to get to know you a little bit. Just elaborate a little bit on your answers if you want to, so that we get to know a little bit more about you. Okay. So number one, ocean or mountains? Okay. There you go. Oceans. Love it. There you go. Don't need to explain it. Just show it. Awesome. Okay. Still water or sparkling?
Sparkling all the way. We used to buy like 4 or 5 bottles of San Pellegrino delicious sparkling water. I used to live in Italy, so I'm obsessed with Italian water. But we've realized that was a ridiculous expense. And so the best investment we have in this whole house, and we're very tech people, is our soda stream. And so like I have constant sparkling water all day, every day. I love the taste of it. Didn't used to, but it's my fave.
So is this something that makes it sparkling, makes the water sparkle?
It's like a little pop thing, you know? We used to have them in the 80s, and you put like little syrup in and make your own cola and all that sort of stuff. But now it's just great because we've got sparkling water on demand, and it's a lot more cost effective.
So how come you sound like you trained yourself to drink it? You said like it used to not taste good and now it does. Is it like you kind of wanted to try it?
No, so it was prior to moving to Italy. I just thought, why on earth would I want to drink fizzy water? It doesn't make any sense. And then you go into an environment where everybody's drinking it and you're like, okay, cool. This is okay. There must be a reason. And then you have a little shot with your coffee, and then it becomes the most natural thing. And you're like, this is me. I am Italian. Like, this is now how I live my life.
Are you Italian, by the way?
No. So
okay, you're not. Yeah.
No. But when I lived there, I was more Italian than I did Welsh. Like,
Yeah, I thought so. You told me you were something else, but because I'm married to an Italian, so that's why I'm curious about Italians. Okay. Yeah. So number 3 is Chinese food or Japanese food? So
I love dim sum. Like I can't get away from dumplings. And then I used to love sushi. I used to eat a lot of sushi. Then I got really annoyed because I realized how much sugar was in it, and so I stopped eating that. I'm going to say
really? I didn't know that. Is it in the rice?
In the rice, yeah.
Brown rice is better than the white rice, I guess.
Yeah. But I think Chinese. Yeah.
Chinese is just fattening too, right? If you're trying to be healthy.
It's like, which one do you want to go for? Like,
all right, Chinese wins. Okay. All right. Number 4 is meditation or journaling?
Meditation.
Okay. How often do you do it every day?
Like minimum once, probably sometimes twice, 3 times.
Wow. Is this like, do you schedule it properly, or you just kind of see how you feel?
So I have it as part of my morning routine always, and then I'll have one within the day, and sometimes I'll have one at night. I'm very high energy, right? So I'm like, I operate there. I don't need anybody to ramp me up. I need to be able to find moments of, I need to come back to focus. Like, this is what I'm talking about with the business owners. I get it, because you all over here, I have to bring it down. And meditation has been incredibly powerful for me with that, with any anxious moments that I've had. It's just a game changer. I used to think it was really woo-woo, whereas now I think it's amazing. Journaling, I like to journal, but it's almost like my hands have forgotten how to write since being in school. So I write a bit, I'm like, this is exhausting. I do audio journaling. Audio journaling works really well for me.
Well, I use an app and I type it in there, because then I can search for the notes. Writing, it just means that I can't access the notes. Yeah, that was a tough one. Yeah, I think they're both very therapeutical and
so, yeah.
Okay, finally, a big party or an intimate party?
I really miss people. Because this is being filmed.
Generally, prior to the COVID, were you more of a big party gathering, like a lot of people, or you kind of like a few people?
So it depends on my role. Like, if I'm speaking at the party, it's a big one. Like, come on, let's get as many people ramped up as we can. But if I'm attending, then a small one, because then I can get to know people in a better way. I enjoy getting people motivated, but I've found that some of the best connections that I've made have been through random conversations in small parties where you're just talking to somebody about something, and then they say something that fascinates you and you're like, what the heck? And then all of a sudden it doesn't really matter who else is there, because that's all you want to talk about, and they become best friends. Then they're a client of yours, and they like the whole thing from there. So I would probably say small party.
Small? Okay. I'm opposite. I like a big party. I like the more the merrier. Okay, well, awesome there. I really got to know you, so thank you. My next question is really around spirituality. So, 10 years ago, when I went through my darkest time, it was also the first time that I was like, God, I wasn't a Christian. I've never been a Christian before. And I was like, God, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with my life? And help me. And then I kind of pursued my business and trusted in this universe. I knew that things were going to work out because I knew there was something out there.
Yeah.
So, and then now this year I decided to be a Christian because it's kind of like evolved. Now my question is, how big of a factor is being spiritual to success in business? Because I'm talking about, it doesn't have to be Christian, by the way. I'm just saying spiritual and business success.
I would say that you can be successful in business, depending on what your view of success is, without some form of spirituality. But I think it would be very hard to be successful and fulfilled without a certain level of spirituality. And spirituality doesn't necessarily mean that you are a particular faith. Spirituality, like right now, like last night, for example, I came out in here and I was just thinking, like, not intending to be profound, I was looking at the houses here and thinking about how I don't get to see anybody, but how society effectively, without our local businesses and without people doing what they need to do and serving each other, we don't exist. And we as human beings are so dependent on each other. And that was a super spiritual moment, because I thought we are all connected. That's something that people say all the time. We're all connected. We're all one. And if you basically, if you disassociate yourself from humanity or the desire to serve, well, it's very hard to be in business, because the whole point is you're meant to be helping someone anyway. So that's hard. And I feel if people smell it on you, people smell it on you that you just want their money, or you're just trying to like sell them a story. Whereas if you're coming at it from a place of service, which is often a subset of being a spiritual person, is that tends to better build community. And right now, I think people are really fed up of the hype and the fluff. Like, I say that I'm a frothy person because I am but there's a difference between frothy and fluffy. Fluffy is like lots of hype and no substance. And there will be businesses right now that will fold because the substance underneath wasn't there. Warren Buffett says it's only when the tide goes out that you realize he wasn't wearing any bathing clothes. And it's kind of like I feel like the people without the right substance or without a health substance will go, whereas the people who come into it and they're like, look, there is a purpose beyond here. I need to serve, I need to connect, I need to find a different way to get in front of people, they will thrive. And that to me is a form of spirituality within my expression of faith, because I'm a Christian. Jesus said the first will be last and the last will be first, and it's servant-based leadership, which I just think is the most incredible thing, because find people that you can serve, find out what they need, help them get that, and you'll be successful.
Help you. That's right. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And so in terms of spiritual as well, I found like without my faith or believing that God will take care of me or things will work out, I wouldn't have lasted that long in business or kind of been strong enough. So what do you think about that side of spirituality? That kind of like, right now, COVID, we've never experienced this before, and this is kind of scary, but just knowing that, God will take care of me has helped me. But how about for those who just don't have that, do you think that they will kind of give up more?
I think if your main source of certainty is how much money you have in the bank or how much control you have over your environment, then you're really going to struggle right now, because there is so much uncertainty and instability. Like, a person's self-esteem is in direct correlation with the amount of control they have over their environment. I have faith in the fact that even though this doesn't make sense to me, that God is in control, and because I believe that God is in control, it brings a certain level of peace and certainty in amongst the chaos. So part of my ability to bring order in the chaos is I know that God's got a purpose for everybody. I know that there's a way forward. I know we just need to find it. And so having that faith helps me sort of settle. I think if there are people who are watching this that don't have a spiritual practice, like, totally respect that. It's a very personal journey. But what I would say is you need to be able to find something above and beyond yourself to aspire to, a sense of purpose, because that will lift you. But also you need to find a way internally to ground to something. So my faith is something internally that I ground to. God is not out there like on a cloud with a harp, like he's in me. So like when I think about like what have I got in me, I'm like, well, I've got God. And you might say, well, the universe is in me. We are all one. Like whatever it is, you've got energy, it's within you. Come back to that, get your certainty from there, and from there you can serve.
Awesome. So I really love, what I love about you is that you're a holistic coach. You know, not only, you know that the success in business really requires a lot of mindset, spirituality, and everything else. So yeah, tell me more about your actual program that you can help people with, because I think that at the end of the day, we can fluff and talk about it all, but we need to take action. And so if anyone's listening, I want to know what, you know, they probably want to know, okay, how can you help me? So let's talk about that.
So if you're a purpose-led entrepreneur, or if you've got an entrepreneur for a vision beyond yourself, and maybe you're struggling right now, the first thing I would say is join my Facebook community called the Business Bunker. I would love to have you there. That's where we share tips and inspo and that sort of thing. I also have a business blueprint. In fact, it's even more alliterative than that. It's the bulletproof business blueprint, because, you know, blah, 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 blah. And the premise behind that is it is an 8-week program to help you ensure that your business is built on solid foundations, and also that you profit through the crisis. So that is something that I would love to talk to you about. If you're interested, you can find out more information at the pashflowproject.com. So Pash, instead of cash flow, it's a P.
Yeah.
The Pash Flow makes the cash flow. The Pash Flow.
Love that. We'll put the link in the description anyway for everyone to check out. But I love the name of the blueprint. I definitely want to download one as well. So thank you. Since this is a Kind Boss title, I'd like to know, what's your definition of someone who's kind, who's someone in his business and is kind?
I think kind is acknowledging that people have value. So from a team perspective, whether they be domestic, international, outsourced, or whatever, an unkind thing would be to treat someone like they are a tool or an object or a resource. Whereas the best way to get things out of people is to believe in them, is to find out who they are as people, and from that draw forth their potential. The kindest thing you can do to someone is to draw out their God-given potential. That's what being a kind boss is.
Oh, so beautiful. So the last question I have is, what do you want to be remembered for?
I want people to be able to say that Rhys gave me permission to do the things that I didn't think I was able to do. It's all, I am on a mission to unleash entrepreneurial potential. That's what I feel like I've been put on this planet for. That's what I will be doing until the day I die, in some way, shape, or form. I have this vision that, like it says in the Bible, like David achieved the purposes for which he was sent, and then he died. So I'll be like I have no desire to retire. I'll be like, have I done? Am I done? Have I done enough? Okay, cool, bye. And that'll be it. So that I've given people permission, opportunity, and belief to actually achieve the things that they hadn't thought they were able to do, and in doing so, we can.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I can just see that kind of genuine, honest, like you can just felt what you said, you know, like that's what you call the true purpose-driven entrepreneur right there. So thank you so much, Rhys, for being on my podcast. I had an awesome time chatting with you.
Same. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, bye.
Thank you for joining our podcast today. We hope this interview has inspired and humbled you to be a kind boss. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and let us know what you think about our show. If you have any questions, please visit outsourcingangel.com. Until then, stay kind and spread love.